We are now going to talk to Veronica Monet. She's an author. She's an ordained minister in the Universal Life Church, and she's also an escort. Veronica, welcome to the Young Turks.
Well, hi. Thanks for welcoming me. I'm actually a former escort.
Yes, former escort. That was going to be my first question, so there you have it. How long were you an escort, Veronica?
From the fall of 1989 till January 31st of 2004.
That's interesting. I saw somewhere that you'd written that you were with 1,800 clients. Is that right?
1,869, actually.
Wow, you kept that strict a list of how many people?
Well, I'm a writer. Writers tend to take notes. And I also have a degree in psychology, so I kind of approached this profession as research in the field.
I suppose so, isn't it? Okay. I have so many questions for you, but let me just explain to the good folks at home, first off, that, I'm now on a crusade to legalize prostitution.
Oh, yes! Awesome!
Okay. Excellent. Good. I'm glad I have you on my side. So, and I know you've written about this, so I want to talk about that too. But first, I wanted to get some background on it.
Okay.
So, when you started in 1989, can I ask how old you were when you started?
I was 29.
Oh, wow. So you started kind of late.
I did.
Huh, that's interesting. So, what made you get into it?
Well, okay, I had already gotten my college degree from Oregon State, and I had already invested 7 years in corporate America. I was really frustrated. I had worked really hard, taking all kinds of training and working overtime without pay, and it just repeatedly was not getting recognized in the way that I thought was, commensurable. I got awards. I even got promotions, but they just wouldn't give me the money.
Yeah, I hear it's about the money.
Yeah, so I met this beautiful prostitute, and, I was a feminist, still consider myself a feminist today, but I really thought all prostitutes were drug addicts or alcoholics and battered and abused and had pimps, and I just assumed it was a horrible, horrible, miserable life, and I met this real live prostitute, and she was beautiful, happy, making a 6-figure income, driving a Mercedes. She was married. She had 3 kids. She never touched alcohol or drugs. She was a health fanatic who spent all her time in the gym, so she just blew my mind.
I bet she did that for a lot of people. Okay, so
more than their minds.
So, Veronica, I'm very curious as to how that played out. First, in what context did you meet her? Did you just run into her at a bar? Did friends introduce you? Did she say, hey, by the way, I'm a prostitute? How did that happen?
Well, okay, so I didn't realize that I also enjoyed dating women, and I was hanging out with this former model who, every time she said jump, I was like, how high? And this guy kept seeing me out, in clubs, dance clubs with her, and he had a crush on me, and I wouldn't give him the time of day. And he came up to me one time, he said, I know what you like, call this number. And I was like, what? And so I was very curious. It was a woman's name. Her name was Heather. And so I dialed the number, and sure enough, she was like, oh, I'd love to meet you. She was really sweet. And the curiosity was just too much for me to take. I had to go find out what was going on here. So it was a blind date, and it was set up by a horny guy who thought it was going to increase his chances of getting me into bed, which it did not.
Okay, I'm now interested in 18 different levels. At that point, had you experimented with women before?
I had just in college, when I got drunk a couple of times, and I thought that's all it was just getting drunk,
And so when you got together with Heather, did you guys wind up?
The very first date, and I didn't have to ask. She asked.
Huh.
I thought I'd died and gone to heaven. She was gorgeous, too. She was like Miss Petite California.
Wow.
And a gallery centerfold.
So you have that experience, and you think this is lovely, and then Heather turns out to be the person who's the prostitute that you're talking about.
Yes, and I'm shocked. I'm looking for chink in her armor. I'm looking for, okay, something's wrong here. This can't be right. And I'm looking for an abusive husband or a drug habit. So I'm very suspicious. and I'm very attracted to her too, so I keep dating her. But I'm thinking, this poor woman, if only she'd gone to college like I did, and if she had any feminist, education, she'd know she's degrading herself, and she's making it worse for all the rest of us women too.
Huh, that's interesting. So and by the way, of course, you guys are having a normal relationship. There's no fees exchanged or anything.
Oh, no.
Of course.
It was totally free.
Right. So at what point does she flip you and you begin to think, maybe this isn't such a bad idea, this whole prostitution business?
Well, part of the reason that I started thinking that was because she never tried to get me to think that. She was just being who she was, and when I finally started thinking, my God, why am I, doing without money and living this, austere lifestyle when this woman she seems to have it all, and she's deliriously happy. So I actually asked her, probably about 6 months into dating her, I came to her and I said, I want to learn to do what you're doing. And she said, oh, no, I don't want to take the responsibility for getting you into this. And I said, well, you either teach me how or I'm going to go try to do it on my own.
So at that point, did she become like your pimp mommy?
Yeah, but, when you're having sex with the boss, you can pretty much get whatever you want.
And so did she start setting you up with clients?
She did.
And the first time you go to do it, how did that feel? Were you kind of... Because it could go in a lot of different directions. And
it was a combination of excitement and revulsion. Because I didn't resonate with her clients. She, every woman who works tends to attract the same kind of man over and over again. Not necessarily. Some girls have really diverse client base, and other girls tend to attract the same kind of guys. And I didn't like the kind of guys that she liked. And of course, I didn't know there were any other kind of guys. I just figured whatever guys she liked, that was the only kind of guys that paid for sex. Because I'm new, right? So I don't know.
Right.
And I didn't like the way the guy smelled. And I'm not saying that he hadn't taken a bath. It's this subtle thing of when you pick your lovers, you don't know this, but in some ways human beings are a little bit like dogs. We're very, very much attracted to odor. Mm-hmm. And so just really subtle things like the smell of people's breath or their saliva, it could be a big turnoff, and so I couldn't wait to get home to shower it off.
Yeah, I could see that. And did he ask for things, or did you just, basically get to business?
This was the part of the job that I loved. The part of the job that I loved was that these guys take orders. They don't give them.
And would you say that's true of all or almost all? Or?
Well, almost all. Almost all. Not all, just almost all. So there's definitely some guys out there that, they're dominant, they want a submissive woman, but I could tell you if you look at what's available out there, it's almost always either the girlfriend experience or the dominatrix. And the whole setup is basically that this is a professional man who's paying another professional woman to provide him with a professional service. And these guys are used to having people take care of their kids, landscape their yards, decorate their homes, depending on their economic category. And this also tends to go with money. The more money the guy has, usually the more he's looking for you to tell him what to do.
That's really good, very, very interesting. Let me ask you, so you had that first experience, and it goes kind of so-so, and you can't wait to wash it off.
Yeah.
What makes you think, well, maybe I should try it again?
I'm in the shower, having some religious guilt and shame come over me, oh, what would my mother think? Oh, what would my family think? And it suddenly dawns on me that I don't run my life that way. I'm thinking, I was a pretty promiscuous person. I have sex whenever I feel like it for whatever reason I want to. And I'm thinking the only thing that's changed here is that somebody gave you some money. So you're actually ahead of the game. And I'm thinking it's true. I might not pick these people to have sex with, and I thought that's what the job would be like. Later on, when I started getting my own clients, it turns out I probably would have had sex with a lot of those people for free. But
oh, really? Well, I got it.
Well, you get underwear models, some really gorgeous guys. It's kind of, you go, wow, and I'm getting paid too? Awesome.
Oh, God, who doesn't love Veronica? Okay. All right, so you get over that in the shower and you say, let me try this thing again. And the second time, the third time, et cetera, it starts to get better and better?
Well, it does, and what ends up happening, I'm going to just try it for a few months, right? And one day I woke up and I heard somebody whistling a tune, and it turned out it was me, and I was like, what the heck is that about? I've never woke up whistling anything. And I realized I was, at a basic level, I was happier than I had ever been.
How long do you continue to work at your corporate job while you were working this at nights?
I had already resigned from a position at Digital Equipment Corporation, who's now out of business. But they were just a really sexist company. And I was trying to get an attorney. I was going to sue them, and the political climate wasn't really conducive to that, so I had to let that go. And I was on unemployment benefits, I think, in that little transition period, and try to figure out what my next move was going to be when I decided to try prostitution.
So, and ever since you started it, that was your sole profession?
Yep.
And how do people find you?
Well, they've originally, since I started in 1989, this is pre-internet, and at that point, you run a little ad in a men's newspaper. And in our area, we had something called Spectator Magazine. And you would run an ad in there with one lousy little black and white picture. And the picture might have been great until they went and copied it for the newspaper. Then all the pictures looked horrible. And you couldn't hardly tell anything about anybody. And most of the girls ran pictures of themselves where you couldn't see their face. They just show you their body parts. So the ads were, in a lot of ways, kind of depersonalized because of that.
Did you show your face or no?
Not in the beginning. I didn't. I did what everybody else did.
But then later you did show your face.
Later on, a girlfriend and I, as time goes on, a couple years into this, I start meeting other providers. And me and this other woman named Nikki decided we were going to be the very first in the Bay Area to run our faces.
Oh, wow. So you're a pioneer.
Yeah, well, pretty much. And she started one of the first escorting websites in the Bay Area, too.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, we were.
Did you ever run into someone that you knew in your real life?
Oh, God. Well, see, I went on to become a spokesperson for Coyote because I became a political activist. And all of this really happens in a short period of time. I moved to San Francisco a year after I started working as an escort, and almost immediately got involved with the politics in San Francisco. And probably 2 years into prostitution, I am all of a sudden doing television shows, and I wind up on CNN. And, people, I can remember walking across a crosswalk, and some guy pokes his head out of his pickup and says, "Is that Veronica Monet?" And I'm like, "Yes."
And was he like, okay, I got, X number of dollars, let's make this thing happen?
No. He was just like, "Hi, saw you on TV, love your work."
Right, but is there ever a situation where, you're talking to a CNN anchor, they cut to black, and he's like, "Oh, by the way, what are you doing tonight?"
People are pretty careful about that, and I've always been, keeping people on a professional realm. Have I ever been solicited by somebody without them going through the proper channels? Yes, but I would never allow anybody to do that because I don't know, I think I'm getting called in for an interview. What if they're cooperating with the police? So there's just certain things you don't do.
That's interesting. And did you ever get busted by the police?
I did eventually. I had worked for 12 years, and because I was so politically active and high profile, they just decided they wanted to take me down.
Was that a big deal, or you just went and, you're in, you're out, well, pardon.
Right now it could be a very big deal, but at the time, San Francisco had actually proposed decriminalizing prostitution. And the district attorney at the time was Terrence Hallinan, and he had gone on television and said San Francisco is, endorsing the decriminalization of prostitution. Mayor Willie Brown told him he had to go back on and apologize for that. But that was very much where he was politically. So fortunately, I got an attorney who was good friends with his, and, the case disappeared.
Yeah, well, how you like them apples? I guess that's the way it works in the real world, huh?
That's how it works in the real world.
Okay, that's interesting. So now, Veronica, is it so? I take it that from your experience, since it was so positive, you think look, this obviously could be a volitional thing, and and as I read in one of your articles, there's an enormous difference between the streetwalkers and high-level escorts, for example, and that to just criminalize everyone is rather silly, and maybe even more than silly, because you're taking away people's rights to be able to interact with each other in any way they please.
Absolutely, and one of the parallels that I like to draw is with marriage. You know, right now today there are both men and women but especially a lot of women, who may be laying in a hospital bed right now because their husband beat them or tried to kill them. And yet we definitely believe that marriage is a positive, and yet it costs some people their lives. So we don't say marriage is dangerous. We say domestic violence is a problem, and we need to deal with that. And the same thing with alcoholism. If there's alcoholism or incest, child molestation in the home, we treat those things as separate issues. We don't say marriage is the problem, we better pass a law against marriage. What's interesting about prostitution is that you can have drug abuse, and you can have violent crime, you can have domestic violence, you can have the raping of children in prostitution, and instead of dealing with those issues, we just say prostitution's the problem, which is, first of all, ineffective, and second of all, completely idiotic.
Yeah, it's not rational. It's not necessarily a causal relationship.
No, and so you end up not addressing any of those really, really important issues, and instead you set up a bureaucracy whose function is to put these women through this stupid machine where basically they actually get arrest records so they can't go out and get other employment. And now they got to pay a fine, which means what are they going to do? Oh, they're going to do more prostitution to pay your fine.
I mean, that is funny. And it is grossly counterproductive.
And you're paying upwards of $10 million a year for this per major city.
Per major city. That's how much they spend to not stop prostitution.
San Francisco averages $7 to $10 million a year.
Now, the flip side is, Veronica, real quick, in New York, they seem to have effectively put an end to the streetwalkers, and I don't even see them in L.A. anymore. Yeah. So I suppose there is a way to, quote-unquote, clean up the streets.
Well, there is. I mean, San Francisco did the same thing. What we did is we did so many street sweeps that the prostitutes are all now down on Cap Street, which is a place where nobody goes.
How do you spell that?
Cap, C-A-P-P.
No, I'm just playing. Go ahead.
I don't think you want to go there.
No, I don't.
Unless you're in a Hugh Grant kind of a mood.
So, Veronica, let me ask you: in your experience in high-end escorts, what percentage do you think were like you, just loved it to death and didn't have any issues whatsoever? And what percentage did have the background that some other prostitutes have, which is a troubled background? Let's put it that way.
Well, boy, that's a hard statistic to come up with. When I was working in the secretarial pool at Digital Equipment Corporation, we had incest survivors there, too, and rape survivors. So, I mean, the sad fact is that 1 in 4 girls and 1 in 5 boys is sexually abused. So when you take that statistic and go, oh, all the prostitutes are sexual abuse survivors, usually they get that statistic because they have polled people who are in crisis, and not just street prostitutes, but street prostitutes who are addicted to IV drugs, street prostitutes who are in violent relationships, and street prostitutes who are homeless and in need of help. So that's how they get into the system.
Plus,
to actually get surveyed.
Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying. That's a really good point, Veronica. And plus, if we had legalized prostitution, you wouldn't have streetwalkers. You would have it in a system that is clean and efficient, you would hope.
Oh, actually, that's not true.
Okay.
Decriminalization is what works better, and the only place that's really, truly got a decriminalized model is New Zealand. And in New Zealand, they have a lot of different layers to the sex, and some people still choose to do it in the streets. Now, the reason people do it in the streets is because they don't have the resources to go get a phone and an address.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not an issue of the job. It's really an issue of people who don't have money.
So you're just saying don't legalize it, but stop making it illegal, which apparently there's a distinction.
There is a distinction. If you legalize it, what you're going to wind up with is what we've got in the state of Nevada. In the state of Nevada, we've got legal prostitution, but it's only legal if. So you have all these long lists. You've got to work for a legal brothel, and the brothel owner is the person who probably has some connections with local government so that they were able to get their foot into the county. Now, those brothels are set up so that it's almost kind of like slavery. The women are behind closed, locked doors and high barbed wire fences, and they always tell you, oh, it's for their safety, which is just so patronizing and condescending. And then each woman has got a camera and a microphone in her room, again, supposedly for her safety, but the real reason the house does it is because they want to make sure that the girl's not ripping them off.
That's interesting.
And so and I know this because I've actually been a customer. I went to the Mustang Ranch and the Old Bridge Ranch just to check it out and see what it's like as a customer. And if you're a customer, it's great because the customer's always right. But if you're an employee, then it's a pretty abusive situation. So you're going to find that most prostitutes will refuse to work under those circumstances.
All right, we're way over time here, but I got to ask final two questions, Veronica. Now you said you were a customer. Are you with women now that you've stopped, being an escort?
I was actually married to a man for 13 years, and we recently divorced. But mostly I prefer men. Occasionally I will date a woman, and I definitely consider myself bisexual, but I mostly date men.
That's interesting. And how long was your career? Let's see, had to be about 15 years?
What is that? I think that's like 16 years.
Okay, 16 years. How much money did you make in those 16 years?
I just don't give those kind of numbers out. I can always tell people the highest fees that I ever made, not charged, but actually made. Somebody paid me in 2004, just as I was quitting. At the age of 44 years of age, I made the most money I'd ever made per hour. It was $1,350 per hour. And he bought multiple hours. And then I, probably 8 years before that, I flew out on my very first high-end escorting gig, which was $16,000 for 2 days, and each day I really only spent 6 to 12 hours with the guy.
Okay, I have so many more questions, but we're out of time.
I gotcha.
No, and part of the reason I was asking about the money is because, hey, look, it's part of our free market system. I mean, if you wasn't illegal, you'd pay taxes on it, etc.
I paid taxes the whole time.
Huh.
I did. But see, that's how my girlfriend taught me. She actually marched me down to City Hall. I got a fictitious business name and a business license, and I started paying quarterly taxes from the first day.
Really? So like consulting, kind of,
consultant is exactly what I put on my tax form.
See, I'm great.
And the thing is that you know how anal I am because I know all these figures and dates. I was very, very careful. I kept all my paperwork, so I did finally get audited and passed with flying colors.
All right. I tell you, Veronica, we're clearly going to have you back on. Okay, Veronica Monet, everybody check out our books. Not only Sex Secrets of Escorts, Tips from a Pro, but also Flossophile, if I could pronounce that right. You could check. What's a website where they can check all of that out, Veronica?
Oh, they should either go to veronicamonet.com or you can go to sexwithoutshame.com.
Sexwithoutshame.com. I like that.
Yeah.
All right. Veronica, thanks so much for being on the Young Turks.